Hey, thanks for checking out my latest video. This is about toggle chords. Can you guys say toggle chords?
Toggle chords.
Good. We're going to go over some beginner to advanced concepts. I think you're going to enjoy this. And as always, please consider subscribing to the channel. Please hit the like button and set the bell ringer notification so that you get all future videos. All right, without further ado, let's get into it.
All right, we're talking about toggle chords, one of my favorite things. I did a video on this years ago, and I'll certainly post that up so you can see that. But I'm taking a fresh crack at this because this is such a biggie. You hear these all the time. So in this case, classic rock and roll keyboard kind of a thing. Guitarists will do this too, and this is a toggle between the 1, if you're in C, and the 4, and we're doing that as a second inversion. And of course, the beauty of these things is they work with changes. And then you go into the 80s and you have this sort of So let's look at some of the options. There was the 1 and the 4. Well, you can also do, that's the 1, just a second inversion. And you've got that where you're coming up to the 4, first inversion. So folks might say, well, that's not a toggle, you're just going from one chord to another. I look at a toggle as a continual usage of 2 chords and you're flipping back and forth. So it opens up more harmonic content. I think that's the big point of all this toggle chord talk, is that when I do this, that's more interesting than if I were just going to go. So there's all this stuff with the 1 and the 4. What if we do a... So you've heard that a million times. That's 5 to 1. So again, this idea that these toggle chords could be designed so that whatever movement you've got in the left hand is going to work with that. And that's not that hard to do. Now, we've been doing these straight up major chords. Toggle chords can work real well like this, suspended chords. And that worked, of course, because I'm staying diatonic. I'm in the key of C. I'm not coming out of it, so nothing is going to sound bad. It's a nice trick with diatonic. So this thing with toggle chords begins to get more interesting when we get out of this triad construct and we go. So now you've got So this chord, let's look at what we're doing with the right hand. By the way, we're in the key of E. Right hand, that thumb is playing the 7. The 3 is playing the minor third of E. And there is the 5th. Now what's happening is we're going we're just simply hitting on that. You could call it the ninth, you could call it the second, but there's a straight up ninth chord. And so you're really just toggling. And you can throw in that A right there. That's kind of cool. So we're doing kind of the same thing here. We've got the 7, we're in C, here's the 9, and here's the 5. And in this case, we're jumping up to that 6. And you've heard some of this in James Brown or similar stylings that come forward all the way into 21st century. And it's just, again, this toggle idea. I can't get away from this term. If somebody wants to call it something else, let me know. I've always called it toggle because it's like a light switch. You're just switching on and off and on. So you can get inventive and come up with your own things that are just going to be maybe 2 notes. Here we're just switching 1 note. We're going from that D to the E. Now in this case, we're in G minor. I'm playing the 7, the minor 3rd, and the 5th. But I'm doing this neat thing where I'm chromatically coming down. Just one little step there. And if I hit that, that is the G4. That's the 4th step, which is going to be a C. It's getting to be out of the key of G minor. So you can take some artistic license here for sure when you're coming up with these things, but pretty effective little trick there. So there you go. That's something that's easy to transfer into other keys. And the formula here is whatever key you're in, you're going to play the 7, minor 3rd, and the 5th. And then you can go up a whole step like that, or you can come down a half step. So at your next jam session, whip this out. This would be a cool thing to do if somebody wants to goof around in the key of G and the guitarist wants to get crazy with some soloing. Then you can play that, and that gives a really nice foundation, a really cool set of harmonies that gives him more reference point on different pitches he can go for. And then don't forget this suspended chord idea. Now I talked about doing the suspended chord like that. So there's an F triad. You go up, you've got that suspended. That's a suspended 4th. Or you can come down here and hit the suspended 2nd. Well, what about if we do this? Stacked 4, so F, B flat, E flat, and then we're coming to the G, C, and the F. This is a chameleon chord. You can't quite pin it down. What is it? Major, minor? Are there 7ths in there? And then what you put it with, there's a G in the bass, or you could do this. Maybe not so good. How about this? this is definitely high value area for use of toggles. So let's talk about the technique and how you can make this easy. If you're toggling between these two chords, something like this, then you can see that I'm using 1, 3, and 5 here, but instead of going down 1, 3, and 5 to this, I move only the thumb, and then my 2 and my 4 are all set to play that A and C. And the same happens, of course, if we're in G. So here I'm playing 1, 2, and 4 on G, B, and D. And instead of going up to here and moving these two fingers up, I've already got the 3 and the 5 set to play that. The big advantage to using this kind of fingering is that you can switch more quickly. And this is really where toggles take on that definition. So you're not really landing on any one of these chords. You might argue that one or the other has the... So maybe that would be your main chord because we're in C. So we're just simply holding that C root, but we're coming down to here and playing that G. So we're doing it fast. We can actually apply a neat little rhythmic theme. Alright, so these have been just a few examples of what you can do with the toggle construct, the toggle method or concept, and it would be real interesting to see what you guys come up with. If there are any things you want to put into recordings, things you can jam over. And if you notice toggles happening in music, songs that you're familiar with, please post that in the comments. I would love to take note of that. Anyway, thanks for tuning into this. This got kind of long. Apologies for that. Stay tuned for more. Thanks so much.